I got a question. The question says, can seller sue a home buyer? Hi, my name is Hani Adam with Royal LePage. Stay tuned with this episode of Real Estate is Complicated, Let's Make It Easy. When a buyer cannot or does not complete an agreement without a cause, the buyer will be responsible for making a whole lot to the seller. The buyer is liable to the seller for the difference between the original contract price and the price that the seller ultimately sell the home or the property for. Or if the seller does not sell the home, the market value now is responsible for the market value of the home at the time of the breach of the agreement by the buyer, plus any related cost incurred by the seller, such as legal fees, carrying cost, moving expense, accommodation cost, and a whole lot more. The seller's damage must be reasonable and foreseeable, and the seller has an obligation to mitigate the amount of damage. Let's say, for the when we talk about accommodation, you cannot sue the buyer and say, well, I spent like $10,000 a night to stay in Hawaii. Okay. Contrary to the fact, or contrary to what most buyer or some of the buyer believe, buyers are not entitled to return their own deposit, nor their liability limited to only the deposit when they breach the contract. When a buyer cancels their real estate deal, seller may sue for the breach of contract and monetary damage. Also, specific performance may also be a legal remedy for the property seller if the buyer backs out of the deal. What's the specific performance? Okay, let's take an example here. John, let's say John offers to buy Kevin's house, and Kevin accepts, but later on Kevin decided to keep the property for themselves. Real estate is considered to be unique, since there is no other piece of property or house exactly like Kevin's. No. John may be entitled to a specific performance on the contract. Kevin would be compelled to go through with the sale. A misrepresentation is one of the few ways a buyer might be able to pull out of a home, or if he has an under agreement. But today, with the resale market, these days, the days of obvious misrepresentation, such as the seller is pulling a carpet over the hole or on the floor, or he's gone and spend $10,000 of a flood damage in the basement of a $2 million house. That might provide the opportunity for discussion on the holdback provision, but they won't get the buyer out of the deal. We keep hearing stories every single day. This one is a true story, believe me. The buyer tried to back out of a deal after they failed to sell their property, but selling their own property was not included in the condition of the purchase. They said they believed that their only damage would be, or the only loss would be, the deposit, and that they didn't realize they would be sued for the shortfall of what they were willing to pay. And what the property sold for in the declining market, of course, is going to be less than the current market. Calculated the cost from professional fees, to storage, to the extra cost happen of the buying a home, of course, like, in a new higher price because the market backed off again, or went up again, values and what I mean by that is, now, or by the time, like, the seller bought his new house, the market was picked up already, so he bought it for more money than he expected. So the the total bill for the seller in that particular case, which he sued the buyer for, was $150,000. But his non-professional real estate, unfortunately, suggested he would, not to proceed with the sale, or would not proceed with the agreement. The buyer unfortunately believed him without even asking his lawyer, which caused him lots and lots of grief, and of course, he lost $150,000. I hope you liked the content of this video, and please comment and post your comments below. Until next time, see ya.